Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, hope you're doing well. Not quite as sunny as it was yesterday, but still a nice day here in Northern England. So I've got some things to talk about this morning. And we'll start with the interview room and Chris McDonough's show last night. But I want to get into something I heard. I can't verify this, but it does relate to what I think it was Dave Rader from Equisearch. It was one of the search guys anyway, who said one of the search dogs tracked Summer's scent down the driveway, which was not what Donald said. Donald said he saw with his own eyes, his own words, his own eyes, one of the search dogs track Summer's scent down the dog trail. The driveway and the dog trail are two different things. So we're going to get into that. But first, let's talk about the interview room with Chris McDonough. If you watched it, what did you think? Let me know in the comments. I was somewhat confused, for quite a way through the show as to what Chris was getting at. Oh, people. Till he's off already. Oh, it's joggers. There's another good walk ruined. He went over the timeline and nothing that I hadn't heard already. Now, I know there's new people coming into the case all the time. And I thought it was useful for me to do this yesterday, is to just go over what we know about the timeline. And if that was Chris's overall aim, well, that's all fine and dandy. Now, Chris was talking about the missing time. The missing time that is clearly evident in that 3-hour window between them getting home at 3:15-ish, according to Candice's statements, that the photo of Summer in Grandma's truck and the video was time-stamped at 3:09 and they were around 5 minutes from home. And then the 911 call came in at 6:23. I've heard 6:26, 6:32, but just before 6:30, let's say. So there's over 3 hours there. Now, I and many others have talked about that at length. Chris also just tried to indicate, I think, that there's missing time in the morning as well. I'm not bothered about that. I'm not bothered about what order they did things in, as long as we can establish where they were throughout the day. I don't really see the relevance of it. So unless Chris has got, information that he's not disclosing, so what? If they, Hunter and Candice hung around doing things, whatever. I don't think it's relevant, unless it's relevant to what happened to Summer. Eventually, happened to Summer. If Summer received an injury by accident early on in the day, and that resulted later in the day in her death. I speculated yesterday that she might have received a head injury that caused a concussion, a bleed on the brain, and Candice's story is truthful up to the point of her coming back up the basement steps hysterical, saying that she can't find Summer. It's truthful up to that point. But what she really said was, I found Summer dead. Summer's dead. Oh my God, what are we going to do? And Grandma and Candice colluded to put their heads together to get Summer out and hide her somewhere in absolute blind panic. And Donald may or may not be involved in this story. He may genuinely not know. And if you take that kind of hypothesis that Donald has been told the same story as us and he believes it. He is completely innocent. This will all come out in the wash. I don't know how long it'll take for it to become public knowledge. You know, if there's a court case, suspects arrested and jailed who plead not guilty, we're in the realms of Barry Morphew. We're in the realms of possibly the affidavit stays sealed, as in the Morphew case, and we don't get to know any details for a year or more. If suspects are arrested and they plead guilty, then obviously it's a different matter. I think that the police have got some information back by now. I really do think they must have information back by now. I think they'll definitely have security camera footage that will place Candice and Grandma's truck and Grandma at certain places throughout the day. But as Summer stayed in the car with Hunter, in the truck with Hunter, then we've no evidence that where Summer was really, other than she was in the truck. And I do think she made it home. So I said all of this yesterday. I got a little bit of information yesterday before Chris's stream. I had a couple of hours to kill. I was kind of like, you know, looking for a stream to watch or a documentary to watch, something to watch, right, on YouTube. And I came across Natasha Cooper's channel, True Crime with Natasha Cooper, talking about Summer Wells. Now, I'm not interested in the drama stuff that Natasha's involved in. I do not care. I have absolutely no interest in that. But the stream was ongoing, so I rewound it to the beginning and I watched it all. She had a guest called Tia. They were making their own speculations, which is fine. They talked about the possible involvement of the church. I don't know. I've never talked about the church because I just don't know. Something that Natasha said that really piqued my interest. And she said one of her viewers, who was in the chat at the time and who was, you know, through the chat kind of filling in gaps and things like that. One of Natasha's viewers is a dog handler who actually searched the Wells property, was actually there. He's one of the handlers. Now, obviously, there's some very important information, you know, as part of a search team. She's not going to be able to talk to anybody about critical, sensitive information. But she did say one thing. And no, I cannot verify that this is really a dog handler who searched the Wells property. It could be someone who is just knowledgeable about search dogs, who's said she's a dog handler to Natasha. I can't verify this, but I just found it interesting. Let's just put it there. Because it corroborates what Dave Rader said. Now, it could be that this dog handler isn't really a dog handler, but she's just taking what Dave Rader, or another search guy, let's just call him Dave anyway, said that the scent was tracked down the driveway. Not the dog trail, the driveway. They are two separate paths. The driveway is the official path that goes up the hill. It's quite steep, and that's how cars get up there. The dog trail is just a shorter route through the trees that, according to Donald Wells, the dogs use. And it goes from approximately the area where the old generator is down onto Ben Hill Road. It's a less steep route, it's a shorter route. It only took Donald a couple of minutes to get down there. It doesn't look any more challenging. Oh, there's that big mud bath. I'm going to avoid that till he's gone in it. Nice one. So the search dog tracked Summer's scent down the driveway onto Ben Hill Road, kind of across the road, came back and stopped. That indicates that Summer got into a car. And allegedly this handler was involved in 4 different searches. They searched the entire property, they searched all the vehicles multiple times. They searched the school bus, they searched all the buildings and the house 4 different times, according to this handler. Could be more times because this handler might not have been there for every single search. And the cadaver teams, the cadaver dogs, did not alert. Not in the house, not in any of the vehicles or structures like the sheds. Nowhere. No alerts from the cadaver dogs. Now, Natasha and Tia speculated that must mean that Summer did not die in the house, was not transported in a vehicle. So, if that's true, it rules out the accident theory. Team that with Summer's scent going down the driveway means she was alive when she left that property. I've talked about this before. I've talked about this in relation to the Watts case. I've talked about this once or twice now in relation to Summer Wells. But I'm going to say this one more time. Search and rescue dogs are dogs that search for the scent of a particular living person. They are tuning out every other scent that's around. Right, and dogs' sense of smell is thousands and thousands of times better than ours. Cassie's breed, Springer Spaniels, in the UK are used a lot in the police for drug detection. I don't know whether Springers are used in other countries, but that seems to be one of the dogs of choice, dog breeds of choice. And Cassie has a fantastic sense of smell. She really does. She'd be a great tracker dog. So they're given a scent of the person that they want tracked. In this instance, they used Summer's shoes, according to this dog handler. Now, if you remember back, if you followed the Watts case, and exactly the same conversation was had with Chris Watts. On the 14th of August 2018, the dog teams arrived, and it's on police body cam, Chris giving permission for them to take scent. And they used Shanann, Bella and Cece's shoes. If your foot is inside a shoe, right inside a shoe, then no one else's scent is going to have got in there. And the sweat from your feet when you're walking gives a really good scent pattern for a dog to follow. You know, if they're tracking somebody who lives in a house with multiple other people, then they have to try to get a scent that's just that person that they're interested in. And, you know, there's 3 boys, Candice, Don and Grandma living on that property. Go in that house regularly. I know Grandma lives in the camper, but she's going in the house. So Summer's shoes was a good choice. They also allegedly asked for a car seat, because a car seat for a child, you know, a child sitting in a car seat, again, that's another place where scent will gather quite strongly, and it's unlikely to be contaminated too much. But they didn't have a car seat, so they used Summer's shoes. And this was a dog that tracked Summer and Summer's scent only down the driveway, not the dog trail. So Donald is not being truthful. Or maybe he believes that that's what happened. I don't know. Maybe he saw something. But according to Dave Rader, and then now this person saying that a dog scented Summer down the driveway. Now, let's put a caveat here, because summer scent is going to be all over that property, all over it. So it's easy to confuse a dog. But what a scent dog is doing, it's finding the strongest scent. It's finding the area of strongest scent. And this is how search and rescue dogs can sometimes, and sometimes only, indicate areas of trauma. Do you remember Jane, the handler from the Watts case, said that Cody the Labrador was looking for areas of heat. So when somebody's in an excited state or an angry state or a fearful state, they're emitting more sweat, the body's in fight or flight mode, they're sweating, they're pumping out adrenaline. So it gives a really strong scent emitted from that person. And Summer was allegedly barefoot when she left. So that scent is going to be strong wherever Summer left that property. It doesn't necessarily mean that she was traumatised. It doesn't mean that, right? It just means that was the last scent, at least the strongest scent. This scream that the neighbour allegedly heard. I don't know about that, guys. I don't know whether you personally want to tie that in. I don't know. The other caveat is that wind pattern can affect where scents gather. This was a possible issue in the Watts house. It could be an issue here because the driveway is somewhat kind of tunnelled, so I don't know whether that would make the scent gather more or not. I don't know, but those kind of things are important. So dogs can be wrong, right? Dogs never lie, and as you know, dogs are my life, and I'll trust a dog with my life. I won't trust one single human being in the world with my life, but I trust a dog with my life. Come here. I am just staff, honestly. I'm just staff. Except I don't get paid. So what do you make of that? Let me know in the comments. But the interesting thing is, if and only if this person really was a member of the search team and the cadaver dogs did not alert, does that really mean that Summer did not die in the house and her body was not transported in any of the vehicles? All the vehicles were searched. Every piece of that property was searched multiple times. And properties are searched multiple times, so there's not an opportunity of, someone coming along and thinking, they've searched that car or they've searched that building, they're not going to come back and search it again, and then they move the body to that location. No, they came back on multiple days and did multiple searches. Does that mean that the accident theory is out of the window completely? Possibly, but possibly not, because cadaver dogs are fantastic at what they do, right? They're scenting not for a particular living individual, they are scenting for the smell of death. And if you've ever come across a wild animal in the brush, you can smell it, right? Even like a decaying shrew or a decaying mouse stinks, right? I know when there's something dead in the bushes. I know it because I can smell it. But cadaver dogs are searching for that smell of death, but they are so good that a good cadaver dog, not all, a good cadaver dog can scent the smell of death up to 15 feet underground, behind concrete, and they can even scent cremains, so the remains of cremation. They're that good. A good cadaver dog. Now, some dogs aren't as good as others, right? Some dogs are, you know, they pass the tests and get the certification, but they only just pass. And then some of them are fantastic. And then, you know, some dogs have off days, don't we all? So that's another reason why multiple teams with multiple dogs search a property, a building, a vehicle, etc. So it seems that the search was very, very thorough. But does this mean that Summer definitely did not die in the house? No, not necessarily. It's debatable at what point a cadaver dog is going to take notice of the smell of death. Because in living humans, cadaverine, which is one of the major substances, that is the smell of death. It's a substance called cadaverine. That's what you're smelling. I guess that's where the term cadaver comes from. Cadaver, cadaverine. It's a smell produced when bacteria are breaking down a certain protein in the body, right? Because our body breaks down, cells die. We're replacing our body at various rates, depending on the organ, etc., constantly, right? We're always in a state of repair, which is why we need protein in our diet. It's not just kids who are growing who need protein in the diet, it's adults as well, because we're constantly repairing, we're rebuilding proteins. So we're also constantly breaking down old proteins. So in very, very small amounts, cadaverine is produced in a living person and is emitted in urine and body fluids, right? In very, very small amounts. So I'm not sure. I've seen varying reports on when cadaver dogs start to take notice. They're not going to alert at a very, 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 very minute smell because it could be a living person. Now, I've read places where it can take a few hours for the body to have decomposed sufficiently, because as soon as the body dies, decomposition begins. Now, it takes a few hours for rigor mortis, you know, the stiffening of the body, to take place, and that lasts for a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, before it releases, and then the body goes then to the next stage of decomposition. But as soon as that body dies, the bacteria take over and start breaking down that body. But at what point is the cadaverine and other substances that can be scented by the dog as this smell of death, at what point does it become sufficiently strong for it to be important enough for the dog to pick up? So I've read it's a few hours. Could it be only minutes? I don't know. I think it also depends on the state of the body when they're alive. Let's say you're very old and you're dying. You're already breaking down your proteins before you actually die. So I think the smell of death would come on stronger. That's just my speculation from what I know. But a young, healthy child like Summer would not be in a state of decomposition very early. I don't think. I don't know where Cassie's gone. Good girl. Good girl. Which way should we go? Should we go that way, up that hill? Should we go that way, up that little hill? We'll go up this hill. It's a bit steeper. We'll go up this one. So, if Summer died in the house through an accident, and she'd only just died when Candice found her, my speculation is the chances are decomposition would not be strong enough yet for an alert. But if she was driven an hour, even half an hour, would there be some indication that Summer's body, I know this is a horrible conversation, Summer's body has been transported. And if her body was hidden and then transported a day or 2 days later, definitely those cadaver dogs would have known about it. So it does open up some possibilities of ruling out some scenarios if and only if this information is correct. But I wanted to bring it to you because it could be important. It could be very, very important to know that. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm going to leave it there for today. I might come back to this topic if I find out more. In fact, I will definitely come back to this topic if I find out more. Any excuse to talk about the wonderful creatures that dogs are. But let me know what you think. I've been Michelle. Hope you're doing well. And I should have said this at the beginning. I really, really hope that any of my viewers who are in Louisiana through Hurricane Ida, I've been watching some of the live streams that Storm Chasers have been putting out. Oh my God. I hope you guys in Louisiana have stayed safe. I know there's a lot of damage, but I hope you stayed safe. And the very best wishes and prayers from me in little old England to you guys. I'll see you in the next video, and it's goodbye from Miss Tillington and Miss Cassie Springer. Bye guys.